Hello, welcome to another video, another solving session for this paper, which is English Language Paper 2 Reading, May-June 2019, Variant 2.2. Okay, and the way that this paper, as per usual, is set up is we have two sections. Okay, and two sections each have its respective passage, and we will read the passage for each section, and then we will answer the questions accordingly. Okay, and let's see what other information we have here. Yes, so here we see that mistakes in spelling, punctuation, and grammar may be penalized in any part of the paper. Dictionaries are not permitted. And the numbers of marks is given in the brackets. Okay, that's about it. All right, let's get started. So here we have passage 1 that is entitled Online and In-Store Shopping. But just before I go ahead and read the passage, what I do and what I always recommend that you do as well is to go through the questions first, just to know what the markers are looking from you. So what they're looking from you, so that you know what to store in the back of your head while you're reading the passage. Okay, so question 1, and I also noticed that all these papers, so paper 2s are all very similar to one another. So the first question, part A, will always be to write in point form. Will always be to write in point form any important information that you get regarding of the topic of the passage. So here we have identify and write down the advantages of online shopping and the advantages of in-store shopping as outlined in the passage. So here we're looking for, in point form, advantages of online shopping and advantages of in-store shopping. Okay, and there's room here for online shopping and room over here at the bottom for in-store shopping. Okay, use material from paragraph 2 to paragraph 7. At this stage, you do not need to use your own words. Use note form to help you get started. The first point in each section and notes is done for you. So the first point is given for both parts. You may find it helpful to use bullet points when listing the content points. You will be awarded up to 12 marks for content points. So up to 12 marks. So since there are two parts here, how I would see it is I would find six additional points content. So yes, 6 additional points for this part here and 6 additional interesting advantages of in-store shopping down below. Okay, so here something interesting that I see, use material from paragraph 2 to paragraph 7. So it means that there isn't anything that we should be getting from paragraph 1. So keep that in mind. Right? Anything that you write down should be from paragraph 2 to 7. So already you know that paragraph 1 is not important for this question 1A. Okay. So next thing we have is 1B, the summary. So this question 1B is telling us to now use your notes from 1A to write a summary of the advantages of online shopping and the advantages of in-store shopping as outlined in the passage. Use your own words. As far as possible, you will be awarded marks for producing a piece of writing which is relevant, well organized, and easy to follow. Your summary must be in continuous writing, not note form. So here, no point form. You are advised to write between 150 and and 180 words, including the 10 words given below. Okay, so here what I can tell is 1A, we're looking at a point form summary. So just extracting any important information about online shopping and in-store shopping. And then right after, in question 1B, we are asked to use our content from 1A and make it flow nicely in a solid, here they say, a solid, relevant, well-organized, and easy to follow summary. All right, so that's for question 1. And then for question 2, we are asked to reread paragraph 3, 4, and 5 to give one opinion from each of those paragraphs. So 3, 4, and 5, there's an opinion that we should be finding within each paragraph. Okay, so those are the only 2 questions that are related to passage 1. So I would stop here, and what I would do is I would go back to my passage and I would start reading. Okay, and before you start reading, it depends. I've done a few of these passage 2s, I've done a few of these paper 2s, so I know how the format is. It's all in my head. But one thing that I do recommend, if you feel a little bit not too confident during the exam, is to make notes on the passage itself to remind yourself what you're looking for. So for example, you will notice that over here in red, I use color coding. So in red, I have the advantages of online shopping. So what I would do is I would write here in red, advantages of online shop, just so that I don't have to go back and forth with my papers as I'm reading. So I have everything on one sheet for myself. In green, I have the advantages of in-store shopping. Okay. And last thing is over here. In blue, I have the opinions that I'm looking for, and I'm going to write the paragraph in which I should find them. So 3, 4, 5. Okay. It takes very few seconds to set this up. And here on your passage paper, you have everything that you're looking for. So you save a lot of time. It's very efficient to do it this way. So while you're reading, you don't have to go back and say, okay, so what am I looking for? And how about which everything is just still. And you can just focus on reading, and you can just quickly look up to the right corner if you need any additional clues or information to remind yourself what you're doing. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's read our passage, online and in-store shopping. The internet has brought about a revolution in many aspects of our daily lives. With social media, internet banking, and changes to the way education is carried out in our classrooms. Another area of change caused by the internet revolution is in the way people shop. They now have a choice between online and in-store shopping. One advantage of online shopping is that Purchases are delivered directly to your door, and so you don't have to carry goods you don't have to carry goods which might be heavy through town or on a bus or train. Okay, so right there in red, advantages of online shopping, explicitly we see excuse me, that one advantage of online shopping is the following. So right there I stop and I underline that in red. Okay, and you can also try to be wise with your underlining and make sure that you just be very brief with what you underline, because remember that question 1A, we're asked to use bullet points. So we don't want really long facts. We want them to be short and precise. Okay, so advantage of online shopping, purchases are delivered directly to your door. You could even just leave it here. Purchases are delivered right to your door. But if you want to add a little more, which I did, I also added that you don't have to carry heavy things. Okay, so it's basically 2 in 1, 2 perks in 1, but up to you. But it's no wrong to just have it short and precise. Okay, let's move forward. Conventional shops have to pay for things like shelving units and decor, and sometimes elaborate displays, whereas online items are stored in basic out-of-town warehouses with much lower overhead costs. This means that goods purchased online are often cheaper than those bought in shops. So again, you see, I skipped all of this blah blah, which is essentially letting us know that when a store has an online shop, they don't have to pay for shelving units, they don't have to pay for decorations, the mannequins that you see in the store, all of that they don't need. They just need a warehouse where they store their goods. Hence, that means that there are much lower overhead costs. Overhead cost means any cost that is not directly related to the production of a good. So if you have a dress, a direct cost would be the fabric to make the dress, the sewing machine. So anything that's directly related to the production of the good. But when you look at overhead costs, you're looking at the rent for your store, the electricity for the store, or anything that is not related directly to the item that you're selling. Okay, and the production. So lower overhead cost for online shopping. Another thing we saw here was the goods purchased online are often cheaper. So lower overhead costs means that your customers pay you less money because you had to spend less money to give them what they need. So if you spend less money, you don't have to charge them too much money. So everyone is happy. Okay, moving forward. Apart from the money saved on the actual goods, online shoppers make further savings as they don't have to pay to travel to shopping centers, either for fuel or public transport, or for the coffee or lunch they might have once they get there. Okay, so here 2 seconds ago I mentioned short and precise, but here I highlighted a very long statement, okay, which could be broken down into much smaller facts. So online shoppers make more savings. They don't have to pay for travel. They don't have to pay for the bus or for the gas for their car to go to the store that they need to go to. And they also don't need to pay for the snack or the food that they that they might need when they're outside shopping, right? So if you're somebody who loves to shop and you leave in the morning, you come back at night, you have to eat sometime in between the shopping, right? Because you're not home, you're out. So you have to eat, unless you have that tolerance to go a day or a few days without eating. It depends, but most people have to eat if you're out the whole day shopping. Okay, and especially if you have younger children with you. I find that when I was younger, I always used shopping as an excuse to eat out. So when my mom would take me, I would always tell her, okay, can we go to that restaurant or whatever. Okay, so there's other costs that come with having to go outside to shop. That's the main point. Moving forward, moreover, online shoppers are not at the mercy of the elements and don't get caught in the rain or burned by the sun, which often happens to those who visit high street shops or markets. Okay, so another important thing, if you do online shopping and you don't leave your house, you don't have to worry about the rain. You don't have to worry about a hurricane, a storm, a snowstorm, depending on where you are located. The weather is completely irrelevant. As long as you have a good internet connection, that's it. That's all you need. Okay? So important fact. Not at the mercy of the elements. And by the elements, they mean nature elements. Okay? Moving on to paragraph 3. Okay? And here, when I get to paragraph 3, in my head, I kept repeating 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So when I reach paragraph 3, automatically my brain tells me, be on the lookout for an opinion. Okay? Because there is no need to leave your home to shop online, it is much quicker than in-store shopping. The weekly groceries for an entire family can be bought in a matter of minutes. Okay, online advantage here. There's no need to leave your home, so everything is quicker, right? It makes sense. It's logical. If you need to leave your house, you have to put your shoes on, you have to get dressed, you might need to take a shower. You have to go, you have to travel, get there, do what you have to do, and then you have to come home. So there's time that is used, and there's time that is rather allocated before and after the actual shopping is done, right? When you leave. But when you're at home, you just need to grab your phone or your laptop or your desktop computer or your tablet. It takes 2 seconds. So it's faster. Okay? This means that time is freed up for people to do more interesting things. After all, wandering around a supermarket is a very boring activity. Okay? Instead of grocery shopping together, families can spend their precious time at weekends or in the evenings going to a park, beach, or gallery. Okay? And I think the opinion is quite evident here because the writer is saying wandering around the supermarket is a very boring activity. That's an opinion. Okay? I have a family member. I know someone who that family member absolutely loves shopping, whether it's grocery shopping, any kind of shopping, spends hours outside just looking at stuff, doesn't even buy. So there's people who love wandering around places and just looking at things. Okay? So here, definitely an opinion. Okay? And I've said this before in other videos, and I say this again. When you're looking for an opinion, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, can I find a contradiction to this? Can I find an exception to whatever is being said? Right? So when you look at this statement, wandering around the supermarket is very boring. First thing I think about is, do I know someone who loves wandering around? And if you find that example, you know this is an opinion, because it's not a general fact. Okay, it cannot be proven for 99% or 100% of people on this planet Earth. Okay, so that's my advice on how to spot the opinion. Try to find a contradiction. Okay, so we have our opinion there. Moving on to paragraph 4. Our opinion is the first sentence. There is nothing more disappointing than finding that a particular item in a store is out of stock or unavailable in the correct size. Okay, so here let's apply my little trick. So I read, there is nothing more disappointing than finding that an item in the store that you want is out of stock or not available in the correct size. Okay, so first thing I ask myself is there anything that would disappoint me more than an item, than a t-shirt that I want in a store being out of stock or unavailable? And automatically, yes, there is. If my house was flooded, or if I lost someone that I loved, that would definitely upset me more than a t-shirt being out of stock. So there's worse things in life. You know, right now we're dealing with a pandemic around the world. So I think if you got sick, God forbid, but if somebody gets sick, they would be more upset than not finding a t-shirt or something at a store. Okay? So definitely an opinion right there. Again. However, online shoppers know immediately if the desired article is available and can quickly make alternative arrangements if it isn't. So again, advantage. You immediately know online when something is available or not, because you simply can't add it to your basket, right? People who shop in stores are restricted to particular opening hours, but the internet is always open for business. Okay, so again, we have another perk. The internet is always open for business, so if you can't sleep at night and you want to shop, you can. If you're awake, whether it's 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., midnight, you can always go on a website and shop. Okay? But in store, if you go to a mall or something, the doors are closed eventually and you cannot get in. If you want to order your groceries or that new jacket in the middle of the night or on a public holiday, you are free to do so. On the other hand, many people find that in-store shopping reduces stress and is therefore relaxing, providing retail therapy, as it is called. It may add to the overall cost of shopping to stop for coffee in town, but many people like to incorporate their coffee break at the shops with catching up with friends. And so it can be seen that shopping in this way has a social dimension. Okay, so here at the beginning of paragraph 5, I'm also noticing something that I did not underline. But let's start with what I actually did underline. Here we see that we read that many people like to incorporate their coffee break at the shops by speaking to friends, right? Bonding with friends or family, you catch up or you discuss something that's important or whatnot. And that can be seen as socializing, right? Well, it is socializing. So in-store shopping has a social dimension to it because you incorporate that whole drinking a coffee or taking a snack to bond with whoever you're there with. Okay, so that's a perk, social dimension. But also at the beginning, something that I did not underline is that many people find that in-store shopping reduces stress and is therefore relaxing, providing a retail therapy. So I'm sure you may have heard that before. If someone is sad or angry or whatever, they usually spend money to make themselves feel better. Unless you're sad because you have no money in the first place, then you can't really spend money that you don't have to make yourself feel better. Okay? So I guess it's a rich people problem. One that I definitely do not have. Okay. So yes, you have some people who have the luxury of turning to retail therapy to make themselves feel better. Okay? So that's another perk for some people. And you also have the social dimension that we definitely just discussed. Moving forward, many shoppers find that although some reductions are made on items for sale online, more discounts are available in shops. Okay, so again, reductions are made on items online. We saw here, if you remember, goods purchased online are often cheaper than those bought in shops. That was in paragraph 2. And then fast forward to paragraph 5, we see that it's true that online is usually cheaper, but discounts are more prevalent, or in other words, available in shops. You'll see a wider variety of discounts when you're shopping in store. Okay? It is really satisfying and even thrilling to search through discounted items looking for a bargain. Remember, we had paragraph 3, 4, 5 for our opinion. And I found the one in paragraph 5. It is really satisfying, even thrilling to search through discounted items looking for a bargain. So the writer is saying that it's fun to look for discounts. And then again, first thing I ask myself is, have I ever shopped, or do I know someone that I went to a store with, or even how do I feel when I'm at the store and I'm looking for something and everything's a little bit expensive and I have to spend time looking for something cheaper? Do I find it fun? And the answer for me is no. Okay? Thrilling to search through discounted items looking for a bargain. I personally don't find it fun, so I disagree with the writer. So it is an opinion, because this is not something that is true for everybody. Okay? It's an opinion. So yes, now that concludes our search for the 3 opinions. All right, so when I got to paragraph 3, 4, and 5, I'm paying a little more attention because I know that I have that additional requirement to fulfill. I'm not only looking for advantages, I'm looking for the hidden opinions, right? So moving forward to paragraph 6, also, I didn't explicitly mention this, but I think that you noticed that starting paragraph 5, we switched to in-store shopping, and the beginning of paragraph 5 makes it clear that we're doing so, because they say, on the other hand, many people find in store, right? We're no longer speaking of online, but now we are speaking of the in-store experience. Okay, so keep your eye out for that. Everything that is at the bottom should now be green. You are no longer using red. Okay, starting as soon as you see this sentence here, you should put the red marker very far away, because you should not need it, and you should put your green one very close. Okay, and if you feel to pick up the red one again, you know that you are wrong, so just put it away and don't touch it. Okay, 6. In-store shopping nowadays can be carried out in huge bright malls, buzzing with activity, with everything under one roof. Although it can be argued that the internet also has everything under one roof, the overall experience of a shopping mall is much more interactive than sitting silently in front of a computer screen placing an order. In-store shopping allows us to judge items for sale at close quarters. Perfumes can be smelled, clothes can be tried on, fabrics can be seen and felt. Okay, so major point in paragraph 6 is that in-store shopping, so experience of a shopping mall, in-store shopping is much more interactive than online shopping. So much more interactive is our key idea here. And it is much more interactive in the sense that you can judge the items at close quarters. When you're online, you just see everything behind the screen. You cannot test it out. You can't try it on. So if you take a size medium, or take a size large, or take a size small, you just have to close your eyes and hope that is the good size and that you did not make a mistake. Okay? So that's another perk of in-store. You have the luxury of trying stuff on. And you can also smell perfumes, right? If you like the smell or not, you know instantly. And you can also touch clothing. If you're somebody that's very specific with the fabric, that's definitely a huge luxury, because some things just feel maybe cheap and other things feel better on your skin. So, yeah. Paragraph 7. Goods purchased in store are instantly available, so that consumers don't have to stay at home waiting for deliveries or rely on delivery companies, which might let them down. Super true. So this sentence here is telling us that when you buy stuff in store, you instantly take them with you, because they're there, they're in front of you. You just take it, you pay for it, and you go home with it. And you don't have to stay at home waiting for a delivery. And you don't have to rely on delivery companies, which might let you down. And by let you down, they mean that sometimes the delivery can take weeks. They can be late. They can lose your item. They can lose your package, right? Or your package can be stolen. So in store, you just take it and you go. Online, you have to wait to receive it. Shops, particularly when run by small or independent retailers, add character and local color to towns and attract visitors, who in turn generate income for local areas by purchasing things. Okay, so another perk now, this is less on an individual level. This is more on a national or regional or on a city level, if you would like to say. When you have a physical store, those nice little cute shops, think about when you travel and you go to another country or city or region and you see a shop that you don't have near your house. You're interested and you go inside to see what they have, right? So it can attract visitors, because there's also some people who travel just to go to a specific store that they don't have in their area. Okay? And if every store was online, this wouldn't be a thing. So that's another perk. It creates income for local areas and it generates foreign traffic. Okay? Conversely, the closure of such shops because they can't compete with online shopping detracts from the appearance of towns and can turn into unattractive wildernesses. Moreover, people are needed to work in shops, and so having a lively town full of busy shoppers provides employment for local people and is yet another advantage of in-store shopping. Okay, so it attracts visitors. It also makes your town look pretty, I guess, because every store has their own banner, or yes, they have their own banner with their name, and sometimes they look good. It's nice. It's nice to see. It also provides employment for local people, right? Especially for the younger people, because usually it's, well, I guess it may depend. This might not be a fact. It may depend on your country or your city or whatever. It may depend on where you are. But I know that for me, where I live, it's usually younger people that you see. So people who don't have a higher education, or who they can't work as like a doctor, you know. But if you're like 16 years old and you want a little job to help your parents or something, you can't go and try to work as a lawyer, you know. You don't have the qualifications. But usually a fast food restaurant or a retail, so a clothing store, they're open to hire younger people with no experience. So it's a good thing. It helps with employment. Okay, and that brings us to the end of this passage, right? I think that this passage is honestly pretty cool. It talks about something that is currently going on, right? With all the technology that we have nowadays, the in-store shopping experience is at risk. Right? Most companies have both online and in-store, but again, now with the pandemic, online is taking over, right? Because in-store is becoming dangerous during times like these. Okay, but anyway, this is what we have, and now we must go to our question 1A and get going with that. Okay, we already know what to do. Here we have our section for the advantages of online shopping. The first one was written down for us, and it is our turn to fill in the rest. Okay, and as I said before, there are 12 marks, right? They say up to 12 marks. Okay, up to 12 marks, which implies a maximum of 12. Okay, maximum of 12. So if you're an overachiever like I was when I was studying, keep this in your head. You will not get more than 12 marks, okay? So even if you write down 24 interesting things, the maximum is 12. So do not overkill it. Do not overdo it. I say 6 here and 6 below, and you're good. Okay, so let's get going. And all I'm doing is copy and pasting. Remember, again, you do not need to use your own words. So I'm just going to do some copy and pasting. Just look at my red underlining. Here, the first one, they already used that, so I can't use it again. So I'm moving on to my next one. Much lower overhead costs. Okay, so online shops, I'm going to use my own words, are subject to much lower overhead costs. Okay, second point. Moving on to the third thing I underlined. Goods purchased online are often cheaper than those bought in shops. Goods purchased online are often cheaper than those bought in shops. Okay. Again, as always, I apologize if my writing is not too clear, is illegible. I struggle with my handwriting. But if my writing is ever not clear, please let me know in the comments and I'll rectify it. Okay. Third point that I need to make here. Online shoppers make further savings as they don't have to pay to travel to shopping centers, either for fuel or public transports, or for the coffee or lunch they might have once they get there. Okay, so here this is long, so let's find a way to truncate this fact. They make further savings, they don't have to pay for travel to shopping centers or coffee or lunch. Okay, or coffee or lunch. So what I'm going to say here, I feel like I have no other choice but to paraphrase a little bit, you know, if you're stressed out during the exam, feel free to just copy and paste if you want. If you're really stressed out and you do not have the time to paraphrase, copy and paste, it's okay, right? Go the long way. Just make sure you ask for extra paper if you need it. Okay, don't forget. Here I think they tell you, usually they tell you. Not here. No, they don't specify. But I believe if you do need, here it's not specified in the instructions, but if you do need more paper, don't be afraid to ask your proctor. Okay? Or worst case scenario, what I would do is I would leave a note here and say check the back, and I would just go ahead and I'd write at the back, okay, if I really need to. Okay, but here I'm just going to paraphrase. Okay, and what I will say for my next point is that online Online shoppers save, oh goodness, sorry. Online shoppers save travel and food expenses that in-store shoppers have to consider. Okay. Online shoppers save travel and food expenses that in-store shoppers have to consider. Moving on. Online shoppers are not at the mercy of the elements. Okay. So next thing. Online shoppers are not at the mercy of the elements, but I'll just write weather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the weather. Okay. Number 5. It is much quicker than in-store shopping. Okay. Online shopping is quicker than in-store. Okay. It's quicker, is overall quicker. Last fact. Okay. We covered this one. Online shoppers know immediately if desired article is available, or you can choose the internet is always open for business. Okay, I'll go with this one just because, and I will write the internet. Online shoppers can shop 24/7, 365 days. Okay. Online shoppers can shop 24/7. The internet is always open 24/7 and 365 days. Okay, so this means 365 days a year. Okay, so my camera's a bit crooked. Here we have it for our online experience. Okay, if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have your 6 points. So already that's half of 12. Okay, and now we move on to get the remaining of our points through the advantages of in-store shopping. In-store shopping is relaxing, reduces stress, provides retail therapy. Okay, it was given to us here. We cannot use it again, so we move on to our next green underlining. It can be seen that shopping in this way has a social dimension. So in-store shopping in-store shopping is considered yes, to have a social dimension. Okay. Our next point. Although some reductions are made on items for sale online, more discounts are available in shops. Okay, so we can just take this part here. More discounts are available in shops. Okay. Next thing. The overall experience of a shopping mall is much more interactive than sitting silently in front of a computer screen, placing an order. Okay. Experience of a shopping mall is much more interactive. Okay, so I'll paraphrase again. Remember, you don't need to use your own words, but if you find it easier to use your own words, go ahead. And in some cases I do. So here for our next point, I will say in-store shopping is more interactive than online. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. We have 3 more to go. Almost there. Allows us to judge items for sale at close quarters. Okay. Oops. This one I will copy and paste. Here we go. Allows us to judge items. That's an ugly S. There we go. S. Items for sale at close, my writing, quarters. Okay, at close quarters. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 more to go. We are here. Goods purchased in store are instantly available so that customers don't have to wait for deliveries or rely on delivery companies, which might let them down. This is a good fact. I'm just going to keep it short and say consumers don't have to wait on deliveries. Okay. Going to fix this here. Here we go. Consumers don't have to wait on deliveries. Okay. You just take whatever you need and you go home with it. Last thing, we have a few options. Again, we have 2 options. Add a character, so shops add character to local color to towns, attract visitors who generate income for local areas. So we can use this one, or we can use having a lively town full of busy shoppers provides employment for local people. Okay, this one's really nice, but I think I'm going to go the easy way and just write provides employment for local people. Okay, saves me time thinking. Okay, so here, very easy to express. Provides employment for local people. Simple copy and paste. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 down here and 6 up here, which means we get our 12 marks. Okay, now we move on to B, the summary. Let's see what we're working with. So let's go over our requirements for a moment here. We need to use notes from 1A. Okay, we need to write a summary, advantages of online shopping, in-store shopping. We use our own words this time. Okay, so the danger here is, remember, you need to be very aware of what are your own words here and what are not. Because if you remember, there's some that are copy and pasted directly from the text, and there's some that I've reworded. So when you move on to 1B, you're using your notes from 1A, but make sure that whatever you take from 1A, you rework it. So you need to know in your head which one you've reworded and which one you've directly copied from the text. Okay, so this brings me back to another thing to take into consideration. When you're in the exam setting, you know you're at the exam, you're a little bit stressed out. You can either, use your own words for this part so that when you get to 1B, you can directly copy and paste from 1A. Or if you're very stressed out and you're not trying to do the extra work right away, you can just start with copying from the text for part A, and when you get to question 1B, you'll have to do the work at some point anyway. Okay, so this is just a side note. Let's go back to our instructions. They are looking for a summary that is relevant, that is organized, and that is easy to follow. Okay, remember, relevant, organized, easy to follow. Another important thing is 150 to 180 words. So make sure that you're somewhere in between. I would say if you need to go one way, I'd say go towards the 150 rather than towards the over 180. Okay? Because when it gets too long, the marker might lose their attention and it might get messy. So really try to not go above 180. Needs to be in continuous writing and not note form. And you must use this. An advantage of online shopping is direct delivery of purchases, blah, blah, blah. So let's go ahead. I'm going to write this one for you. In the previous videos, I didn't complete a full one, so I thought that in this one I would try to give you a clear example of what my summary would look like. Okay, so what I will do right now is I will just write it down for you so you can just watch me figure this out, and then once I'm done, I can come back and explain in a little bit more details how my thought process was. Okay, and I'll also try to just speak a little to give you hints of what I'm doing instead of staying completely silent. Okay, so let me begin. We have an advantage of online shopping is direct delivery of purchases, right? Purchases to your door. Okay, so it's missing here. Of purchases to one's door. Okay, and here since it is a summary and it has to be continuous writing, relevant, well organized, easy to follow, I will not only use my notes from 1A, but also what I do is I will go back to my text after I look at 1A, and I will look at what I have underlined just to see if I can add more meat to my text. Okay, because if I strictly, okay, I said I was going to come back and talk about this, but might as well just do everything at once. It's my first time doing this, so bear with me. If I just look at 1A, I wrote in in point form, bullet points. Okay, so this is definitely probably less than 150 words. So if I just rely on what I have going on here, I am going to be under my word count, and also it won't be continuous flowy writing. It will be very choppy. Okay, so I will be going back to the passage itself to try to see if I can make things get a little bit more information, more meat to my text, just to make it flow better. To one store, so you don't have to carry goods which might be heavy. So that's the full thought, the full point that the writer was trying to deliver to us. So an advantage of online shopping is direct delivery to purchases to one store. Which spares them from having to potentially carry heavy goods. Okay. Next point. Goods purchased online are often cheaper than those bought in shops. Online shoppers save. Okay. Because of the overhead costs, so they're cheaper. Okay, so they don't have to carry heavy stuff. They're lower over cost, which makes, okay. Delivery straight to your door, which means you don't have to carry heavy stuff. Lower overhead cost, again, same idea. A means B. Delivery to your door means don't have to carry stuff. Lower overhead cost means cheaper prices online. Okay, so going to make it flow by saying further, so F-U-R-T as in Thomas, H-E-R, so furthermore, in my own words, the online business model involves lower overhead costs. Meaning that customers benefit from lower prices when shopping online. Yep. Okay. So my second point, online shoppers save travel and food expenses that in-store shoppers have to consider. Okay. Coffee or lunch, so food and travel expenses. Okay, so again, every time I add something, I actually read from the top or from close by. So the previous sentence or the two previous goodness, I cannot speak. So I usually read the previous sentence or the two previous sentences to make sure I flow, right? Because they want it to be continuous, easy to follow, organized, relevant. So in my head, I take it from the top just to make sure it sounds good. Okay. So lower prices, but it's not only the lower prices. Next thing is there's more savings rather than the product itself. Okay. So what am I going to say? I should say, so apart or other than, apart from, goodness. Apart from the cheaper online shoppers, how can I word it? Online shoppers are spared. I used spares here already. So again, I'm trying to show them that my English is quote unquote good, So I'm looking for synonyms. I don't want to repeat the same thing too much. So they are spared, they're saved. Online shoppers are, here you go, are sheltered. Okay, they're protected. They are sheltered. From additional and unrelated shopping expenses, travel and food. Okay, my side comment there. That in-store okay. So my third point here in one sentence, apart, I need to make it flow. Okay, the online business model involves lower overhead costs, meaning that customers benefit from lower prices when shopping online. Apart from the cheaper cost, right? So making it flow from my previous point, online shoppers are sheltered from additional and unrelated shopping expenses, travel and food that in-store shoppers need to consider. Okay, next point, online shoppers are not at the mercy of weather. It's quicker than in-store, and they can shop 24/7. Are not at the mercy of the elements, quicker, and 24/7. Okay, so I don't have much. These are three little facts. Can I combine them? Because here I also am taking into consideration my space, right? I have quite a few sentences for online shopping, and I need to remember I have in-store shopping to cover as well. I also have my word limit. So let me test this out. Take a random line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this would be about 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So about 6 or 7. 6, 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 60. Yeah. Which means I need to end this because I'm going to reach 60 times 2. That's going to be 120. And I have 150 to 180. Okay, so already I'm about to reach halfway. So I know whatever I do from now, I have to transition into in-store very soon. Okay? That's how I also work. I try to keep track of where I'm at by doing all these little calculations in my head as I go. So again, I have 3 more points to cover. Online shoppers, don't worry about the weather. It's quicker 24/7. So let's do this. They don't have to worry about the weather because they can stay home. And I just mentioned that they don't have to travel. They don't have to buy food. Okay, so how can I transition into the fact that they don't have to worry about the weather? I will say, instead, online shoppers have the luxury of shopping from the comfort of their home. From the comfort of their home. So away from the weather, 24/7. It's quick. From their home. Here in a short way, I'll mention 24/7. So day or night. I got it. Day or night. And then I say rain or shine. Okay, to mention the weather. Day or night, rain or shine. What else can I throw in here? Quicker. Immediately if the article is available, 24/7. So I said day or night. Here I said rain or shine. Much quicker. I might not be able to. I'm not sure. Can I use this? You know what? In my summary, I'll go ahead and I'll just cover this instead. Okay? And either way, I could just, since B is asking us to use our notes from A, if it's really that serious, I can just add a bullet point here and just go ahead and add what I want to use in my summary. But I don't think it's a big deal. What I'll say is another good perk with a real-time, what are they called? They're called real-time inventory systems. So real-time inventory system at their service. Okay. So here you have it, my sentence. Right? Online shoppers are sheltered from additional and unrelated shopping expenses, travel and food that in-store shoppers need to consider. So the expenses are related to travel and food, and in-store shoppers have to consider them. Instead, right? So they're sheltered. Instead, online shoppers have the luxury of shopping from the comfort of their home, day or night, rain or shine, with a real-time inventory system at their service. So here I put 3 points, my last 3 points, because I wanted to conclude online experience. Okay, rain or shine. This one I didn't use, but I substituted that with the real-time inventory system to cover our point here. They know immediately if the article is available through the means of the real-time inventory tracking systems that stores have. Okay, and then I covered the last one here, 24/7, 365 days a year, by saying day or night. Okay, so it flows nicely. All right, if you want to, maybe, if I can zoom out for a second. Okay, if you want to pause the video here and read to make sure the first half flows nicely for you, go ahead. Okay, but I will move on to our second half, which is about in-store. Okay, and you can see I have very little space left, so if I was at an exam, I would ask the proctor for additional paper, or I'm just going to write a note to tell them to look at the back of my sheet, because I'm going to write at the back. Okay, let's move on. We just talked about the advantages of online shopping, and now I will go on to say that online shopping is not perfect. That is why we have in-store shopping, to make up for what online shopping doesn't have. Okay, so that's how I will transition to in-store, by saying no, let me start a different way. However, nothing is perfect. It's a fact. Okay, this is not an opinion, it's a fact. Try to find a contradiction. Maybe you can, who knows. Nothing is perfect. The online experience has its downsides. For which the in-store experience, here's a good one. We're trying to say it makes up for it, but a good way to show them that you have a rich English vocabulary is by trying to throw in a few sophisticated words here and there. So in this case, I will say for which the in-store experience salvages. Okay, it makes up for the lacks of online shopping. And now we go with our perks of in-store shopping. First thing I will touch on is the fact that there's more discounts in store. It's very easy, quick. So many shoppers recognize that sales and discounts are more prevalent, right, with an A. Let me check my are available. Oh, I didn't write this down yet. Prevalent with an A. Had to think about that one twice. Okay, we have to avoid grammar mistakes. So prevalent is with an A. in store. Remember, consider to have a social dimension. Okay. So a lot of consumers also in-store in-store shopping as a social, right? We have social dimension, but we also have interactive. So we have a social and interactive experience. So just wanted to mention here, if you're someone who writes a little bigger and you know that you might struggle with the space that is assigned, you could also make use of this space here, which I should have done. I should have written just like this to take advantage of the space that I have here. Anyway, so many shoppers recognize that sales and discounts are more prevalent in store. A lot of consumers also view in-store shopping as a social and interactive experience. Okay? Or instead of saying experience, you can use, I could have used opportunity, right? As a social and interactive opportunity. I think that sounds nice as well, but I'll just leave experience. You can say it is also a luxury, right? They get to try on stuff for in-store. For in-store, can I fit this here? Okay, super small for in-store shoppers. I'm trying to make use of the little 2 lines. For in-store shoppers to examine the available stock at close proximity. And again, I just keep looking here, right? They don't have to wait on deliveries because they take their stuff home right away. So available stock at close proximity, and to take their items, right? Their items home. Sorry, here. I'll continue at the back. To take their items home. Right away. Without any delivery delay. Okay, and I covered all of them, looking at close proximity. not having to wait on delivery, interactive social opportunity experience, discounts are more prevalent in store. Last thing is providing employment for people. And remember, I also will try to combine the 2 points, providing employment, but also attracting visitors. Okay, so it's income, right? These 2 points here make me think of the economy. So I will try to throw those 2 in together for the last sentence. Okay, and the way I will conclude is by saying, finally, right, the presence of local shops. The presence of local shops. No, that doesn't sound right. Finally, the presence of physical retailers. More professional. Of physical retailers. Attracts, so their presence attracts tourists. And provide employment opportunities for locals. Okay, and then here I can have my last side comment there. Oh goodness, I butchered this word. An economic driver. Okay, so it's important. Physical retailers, physical stores are important for a country's economy. It makes the money flow. Okay, there you have it. So last thing I would do is I would do a word count check again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I would say I still have about six words each line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So with 20, I know I'm already at 120, because remember with 10, if I have 6 words on each line and I have 10 lines, that's 6 times 10, which is 60. So double that. With 20 lines, I have 120. So then the remaining, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 6 times 7, 42. Unless I don't remember my math. But I think I remember my math. So 120, 42. Right? I have about 162 words. Give or take. So I feel good. And I feel like I'm within the limits. Okay. There you have it for the summary. That was long, but I'm not sure if it's a few of you or somebody specifically asked for a summary. So there you go. I have delivered. Your wishes are my commands. Okay. So can you believe it? An hour and a half for us to go through the passage on 1A, 1B. I hope this was helpful. Let's move on to more easy stuff, right? Our opinions. We already spent time on finding them. So all that's left is to copy and paste them. So for sure here you should get your 3 marks. Okay. So opinion in paragraph 3. All right, wandering around supermarket is a boring activity. So quickly, boring activity. Okay, so here I'm just doing some pure copy and pasting for you. 4, there is nothing more disappointing than finding that a particular item in a store is out of stock or unavailable in correct size. Okay, copy and paste again. Disappointing. Okay, dot dot dot. I put dot 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 because it's very clear. Okay, so just make sure you copy and paste this whole thing. Okay, just to save us a little bit of time. I won't make you watch me just write it down. Okay, just limit the mistakes for grammar because it is copy and pasting. Last one. It is really satisfying and even thrilling to search through discounted items looking for a bargain. Okay, so again, it is and even thrilling dot dot dot, same thing. Copy and paste this whole thing here. Okay, we're all good. So that right there, our first passage and its questions were worth 25 marks in total. Okay, and if you deliver something like me or similar to what I did, you can definitely expect to get full marks. Okay, which should make you happier and less stressed for the second half of the exam. Okay, so we move on, my friends, to our passage 2. If you have any questions about passage 1 and or its questions, its related questions, please let me know in the comments, okay? And I will help you out as best as I can. Passage 2. Okay, passage 2, the second half of the exam is a little bit different than the first, and the way that I take it on is different than how I take on the first passage. Okay, here you can see just by reading the questions, you can see that the questions are related to a paragraph specifically. Okay, so instead of reading the whole passage and answering the questions after, I like to read the question and then go to the relevant paragraph and find my answer there and just do it that way. Okay, I think it's more efficient for this half of the exam. So let's begin. Passage 2, entitled Jennifer. In the insert, so read that, and in the insert and answer all the questions below. I'm so confused. What do they mean in the insert? Read passage 2, Jennifer. Okay, I get it. And answer the questions. Paragraph, so from paragraph 1, 3A. Why was Jennifer upset that she was late getting away from the office? Okay, and Jennifer's boss was apologetic, but he was adamant that she should do the extra task. Explain in your own words how Jennifer's boss felt about giving her the extra task. Okay, all that could be found in paragraph 1. So let's get going with our paragraph 1 reading. As some last-minute paperwork had to be dealt with, Jennifer was late getting away from the office, which upset her, as this was the much-anticipated day when her daughter Anna was coming home from university for the long vacation. Okay, so excuse me. I remember the question, and here I have the answer, so I'll just underline that quickly. Excuse me, I'll just grab some water quickly. Okay, whew, I'm alive. So, yes, remember the question. Why was Jennifer upset? We have our answer. I underlined it. And then we have a statement here. Jennifer's boss was apologetic, but he was adamant that she should do the extra task as the paperwork had to be completed that evening in time for the next morning's post. Okay. First things first. Why was Jennifer upset that she was late getting away from the office? So it's because you can write because her daughter Anna was coming home. From university city for the long vacation. Yeah. Okay, and she would be late. So here I chose to write, copy and paste from the text. So her daughter was coming home. You can write a shorter thing than me. You can just say she was going to be late to see her daughter who was coming home, right? She would be late to meet with her daughter who was coming home. Okay, here we have the statement. Jennifer's boss was apologetic, but he was adamant that she should do the extra task. In your own words, explain how the boss felt about giving her the extra task. Okay? Remember, he said the paperwork had to be completed that evening in time for the next morning's post. So there was a rush. And how did he feel? This is 2 marks. So there's 2 things that we need to focus on. There's a contrast here. He was apologetic, but, right? He's apologetic, but he was adamant. Excuse me. So what the markers are trying to see from you here is they're trying to make sure that you understand the contrast, and that they're trying to see how your vocabulary is, if you know your synonyms. Okay, so in your own words means to paraphrase, to find synonyms. Word, the same thing in a different way. So he was apologetic. So when you think about someone that is apologetic, they're apologizing, it means that they regret it, they have remorse, they're sorry. He's sorry because he's apologetic. But he's adamant adamant means I'm sorry, but you really, like, I really need this. Okay? So, I'm sorry, but this is how it is. So if someone says, I'm sorry, but this, you have to do this, it means they're being assertive, they're firm. Not that they don't care, but they, in a certain way, they insist that you have to get it done. Okay? And he's sticking with his decision. So he's standing his ground. So these two feelings. So you can say how Jennifer's boss felt about giving her the task. So here I will say Jennifer's boss felt bad. He felt bad about giving her the task, knowing that she had to go see her daughter. He felt bad, but he insisted on the task being done. Okay? Excuse me. So that's what I would write. My voice is getting tired. Okay. Moving on to paragraph 2. Question 4. Jennifer headed anxiously in the direction of the motorway. What are the 2 physical signs of Jennifer's anxiety? Jennifer is driving in such difficult conditions. Which was the worst of these difficult conditions? Jennifer relaxed a little. What made Jennifer relax? Okay, so we're looking for physical signs of anxiety, the difficult conditions, and she eventually relaxed. Let's take a closer look at all of that in paragraph 2. At long last, the work done, Jennifer rushed to the office car park and jumped into her car. The rain was pouring down and it was already dark. Even worse, the high wind buffeted Jennifer's little car, almost as if it were trying to force her off the road. She headed anxiously in the direction of the motorway, which would take her to the airport. Her shoulders hunched up to her ears with tension. She peered through the gaps created by the windscreen wipers as they swished quickly and rhythmically back and forth. Her heart raced with the effort of driving in such difficult conditions, but also at the thought of seeing Anna after her absence of almost a year. Jennifer thought yet again of her plans for Anna's vacation, their visits to family members, their invitations to friends to share dinner with them, their shopping trips. Jennifer relaxed a little. Okay. Let's see. What are the 2 signs of Jennifer's anxiety? So here I spotted them as we read. 2 signs of her anxiety. Her shoulders hunched up to her ears with tension. So there's tension in her body, so that means anxiety. Okay. And her heart was racing. Okay, so those are the 2 things. 2. Okay. So her shoulders hunched up to her ears with tension and her heart was racing. Jennifer was driving in such difficult conditions. Which was the worst of these difficult conditions? Okay. Her heart raced with the effort of driving in such difficult conditions, but also at the thought of seeing Anna after her absence for a year. Okay, let me go back a little. Her shoulders hunched up to her ears with tension. She peered out through the gaps created by the windscreen wipers as they swished quickly and with it's not this. Okay, the rain was pouring down and it was already dark. Even worse, the high wind buffeted Jennifer's little car, almost as if it were trying to force her off the road. Okay, so it's the high wind. Because we have even worse, so the worst is the high wind that was trying to push her off the road. She was driving in difficult conditions, which was the worst of the conditions. So it was the high wind. Okay. Jennifer relaxed a little. What made Jennifer relax? The last part, the end of the paragraph. She thought about her plans for Anna's vacation. Okay. So what made her relax? So the thoughts of her plans for Anna's vacation. Okay. So Jennifer had no alternative but to do the same. What did she have to do? What were the 2 indications of roadworks ahead? Well, there's quite a few here. So let me actually read paragraph 3 and then let's come back. Suddenly, the brake lights of the car in front glowed red as its driver slowed down. And Jennifer had no alternative but to do the same. Signs by the side of the motorway depicting matchstick figure workmen warned the roadworks ahead. Jennifer sighed in exasperation while realizing that endurance of good humor were her best options. Maybe it won't take much longer, she thought. But after the car had crawled along for half a kilometer and flashing orange lights confirmed the need for caution, she switched on the car radio to listen to some calming music. But when the radio announcer gave his audience a time check, her anxiety increased and she hastily chose silence again. The queue of traffic edged almost imperceptibly forward. Okay. Zoom in a bit. Okay. So let's see what questions we're facing. Jennifer had no alternative but to do the same. What did she have to do? I remember this here. So the lights of the car in front of her glowed red. The driver slowed down, so she had no alternative but to do the same. So what did she have to do? She had to slow down. What did she have to do? She had to slow down. Okay. What were the two indications of roadworks ahead? Signs by the side of the motorway depicting matchsticking figure. So this here. So we have signs depicting matchstick figure workman. Okay. So that's one way. We have to find the other thing. While realizing maybe it won't take much longer. And flashing. Okay, I see. So first thing she saw is she saw the sign of the workman, right? The matchstick figure workman that said that there's roadworks ahead. And then she decided to take it as with humor. And then she thought everything would be okay. But then half a kilometer later, there's flashing orange lights confirm the need for caution. Okay. And when there's a need for caution, it means you still have construction. Okay. So the two indication of road work, you had signs depicting, let me erase this a bit, sorry. So signs depicting matchstick figure workmen, and you also have flashing orange lights. Okay, flashing orange lights. Okay. See, she sighed in exasperation while realizing that endurance and good humor were her best options. Explain in your own words what Jennifer's best options were. Okay, 2 marks. So in our explanation, so her 2 options, her best options, we have 2 best options. Endurance and good humor were her best options. So again, they're trying to see what our synonyms are looking like. Okay, so endurance and good humor. So synonym for endurance means you're if you can endure something, it means you're sticking it out, you have the patience, tolerance. I think I would go more with tolerance, because if you can endure, you can tolerate, right? So her best options, Jennifer's best options were tolerance, right? Endurance, tolerance, And good humor. Good humor. When you're having a bad day, you wake up, you realize that, I don't know, your cat, your dog ate something, ate your slipper, or those days when you wake up and things are just going wrong from the beginning, and there's just bad stuff that just keep happening one after another. There's two reactions you can have, right? Just like Jennifer, she was late to leave work. Now she finally left work. There's traffic. She's trying to pick up her daughter. She's going to be late. And there's the construction. So things are just going bad. So you can either be really angry and start screaming or yelling or crying, or you can just be optimistic, right? So good humor. So keep being optimistic. You're positive, right? You're just smiling through the pain, almost. Okay. So tolerance, and I would say optimism. Okay. So being not bubbly. I guess another word, maybe cheerful. You're cheerful. Maybe cheerful's a little strong, because you're not really happy about it. I would say I would stick to optimism or positivity. Okay. The car crawled along. Give one word. Sorry, by the way, we have our 1 mark here, 1 mark here, so 2 marks. Okay. And the car crawled along. Give one word used later in the paragraph which conveys a similar idea. Okay. Line 20. Let's find it first. Okay. But after the car had crawled along for half a kilometer, and it says that the word we're looking for is used later. So it's used after. So let's see if we can find it. Confirm the need for caution. She switched on the car radio to listen to some calming music. But when the radio announcer gave his audience a time check, her anxiety increased, and she hastily chose silence again. The queue of traffic edged almost imperceptibly forward. There we go, edged. This is the word they're looking for. Edged. Okay, so the queue of traffic edged almost imperceptibly forward. Edged. There you go. Jennifer chose silence again. What did she do? Remember, she switched on the car radio. Because here she said good humor and endurance, so she decided to remain positively. Okay? So maybe it won't take much longer. Okay? She switched on the car radio to listen to some calming music. Okay? But when the radio announcer gave his audience a time check, her anxiety increased and she chose silence again. Hastily chose silence again. So she turned on the radio and she chose She turned on the radio and she chose silence again. So here it implies that she turned off the radio. Because before she didn't have the radio, she turned it on. She got annoyed, so she turned it off again. So what did she do? She turned off the radio. That's what she... Alright, yes, so she turned off the radio. My camera turned off for a moment there, so I had to restart. Sorry about that. That's why the clip might seem off. But let's move forward to question 6. Her mission was accomplished. What was Jennifer's mission? From paragraph 4. So let's go ahead and read our fourth paragraph. Sooner than Jennifer had expected, a cluster of huge hotels, like shiny white teeth, rose against the skyline, indicating that she was approaching the airport. She took the appropriate exit from the motorway and headed to the airport car park. It appeared to be full, and driving up and down each lane, looking for a space, shaved even more precious minutes off her schedule until, just as she was beginning to despair, her mission was accomplished. Okay, so the question I remember was, what is Jennifer's mission? And here we see at the end of the paragraph that the writer is explaining that the park, so the car park, the parking lot, seemed to be full, and Jennifer was driving up and down the parking lot looking for a place to park for a few minutes. And just when she was beginning to despair, so she was thinking that she wouldn't find a place, her mission was accomplished, meaning that she found a parking lot. She found a parking, not parking lot, she found a parking space. So over here, her mission was accomplished. What was her mission? So mission was to find a parking space. Okay, so there, one mark for you. And just in case, I should underline this as well. Okay, so right there. Moving forward to our question number 7. How could I be so stupid? She berated herself. Why does Jennifer think she has been stupid? Let's find out in paragraph 5. The arrivals hall was busy. Jennifer made her way through the huddle of taxi drivers who were nosily trying to attract prospective passengers, and drivers of hotel cars holding up cards on which were displayed the names of arriving guests. An extended family of at least 30 people, all wearing traditional dress in a blaze of colors, was gathered under the electronic board which displayed details of flight arrivals. Jennifer wove through this group, craning her neck to study the board. She felt her heart miss a beat at the absence of a reference to Anna's flight before realizing she was looking at information about domestic and not international flights. She half walked, half ran in the direction of international arrivals. How could I be so stupid? She betrayed herself. To her relief, the new arrivals board told her that Anna's plane, having been delayed by an hour, had just landed. Okay. So question again. And Jennifer told herself, how could I be so stupid? And why does she think that she was stupid? And it was clear in the paragraph. The reason why Jennifer thinks that she is stupid is because over here, she was looking at a study board and she felt weird. She felt bad because the absence of reference to Anna's flight that is what was going on with the board. The flight was not there, so her daughter's flight wasn't written anywhere on that board. So she thought that something was wrong, and then she realized that she was looking at information about domestic flights, and her daughter was on an international flight. Okay, so why did she feel like she was stupid? Is because she was looking at the wrong board. Trying to see if there's a name. Electronic board. No, it just says electronic board. But you can say that a good answer would be because Jennifer to N was looking at the electronic board. Yep. For domestic flights and not international ones. Okay, there was no S mistake here. Okay, so why did she feel stupid? Is because she was looking at the wrong board. So she had to look at the international one, but she was looking at the domestic one. Or another way to word this would be because Jennifer's daughter was taking an international flight, but Jennifer went to look for her in the domestic arrival part of the airport. Okay? Let's move on to our next question. Question 8. For each of the words below, circle the letter A, B, C, or D, which has the same meaning that the word has in the passage. Okay? And we're looking from paragraph 3 to 6. Get started. So for A, our first word is hastily, line 23. So let's go and look for that. So here we have line 20. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's here. So let's go back to the beginning of the sentence. But when the radio announcer gave his audience a time check, her anxiety increased and she hastily chose silence again. Okay, so if you remember in this paragraph 3, we're talking about Jennifer wanting to relax herself and be positive. So she turned on the radio to distract herself from her annoyance. Okay, but then when the radio person announced the time, it reminded her of the situation in which she currently was, so she decided to switch off the radio. Okay, and our keyword here is hastily. So it means that as soon as the time was given by the announcer, the radio announcer, she really quickly, so hastily in this context means very quickly. She quickly turned off the radio. Okay, now let's look at our options. We have carelessly. I don't believe that is the good choice. Nervously, that's not it either. Rapidly is it, because I basically just immediately thought of that. You know, she quickly, rapidly, same thing. Crossly, nope. So the answer would be C. Okay. Appropriate, line 26. Let's go take a look. approaching, no, oh, the appropriate, okay, so let's read the sentence. She took the appropriate exit from the motorway and headed for the airport car park. Okay, so she took the appropriate exit. So the correct exit, that's what I'm thinking of in this context. Let's go take a look at our options. Okay, so there it is, the correct. Okay, it makes sense. The appropriate. Suitable, no, it wouldn't be, no. I don't think it would apply at all. Convenient, she took the convenient exit. No, doesn't make sense either. She took the subsequent. No. So the good synonym for appropriate in that context would be correct. Okay. Moving on to C, perspective, line 31. Okay, here, let's go back to the beginning. The arrivals hall was busy. Jennifer made her way through a huddle of taxi drivers who were noisily, so I think I said nosily at first, but this is noisily, so with a lot of noise, noisily trying to attract prospective passengers. Okay, prospective passengers in this context would mean that the taxi drivers were looking at potential clients, right? So passengers who were coming out, some of them are obviously traveling and they need to get somewhere, so they're in need of a taxi. So in this context, I believe that it means potential passengers, potential clients. Let's look at our options. So we have planned, so let's try to over here, planned passengers, doesn't make sense to me. Planned passengers, nope. Visible passengers, nope. So taxi drivers were noisily trying to attract visible passengers, nope. Wealthy passengers, not at all, nope. Possible passengers, I think this is our best option. Taxi drivers who were noisily trying to attract possible passengers. Makes sense. Okay, so possible clients. Spot, line 40. Let's go check that out. Line 40 is here. Jennifer picked a spot which gave her an excellent view of the automatic doors through which her daughter would emerge once she had cleared immigration and collected her luggage. So she picked a spot. That's our word. So she picked a spot. In this context, spot would be a parking space. Let's see what they have. But a spot would be the parking space. A patch, no. A mark, she picked a patch, she picked a mark, no. She picked a position, She picked a glimpse, okay. So here I would automatically eliminate these three, which just leaves us with position, which means that position is the good synonym in this case, and a spot, a position. Yes, position does make sense. It does make sense because she picked a position which gave her an excellent view. So she positioned herself within the parking lot in a way that she has an excellent view of the automatic doors through which her daughter would emerge. Okay. Actually, sorry, yeah. I kind of got lost. So up here we were talking about parking, but in this paragraph here, she's no longer parking. My fault, sorry. So we're not talking about the parking lot. We're just talking about her inside the arrivals hall. So she just picked a spot, I guess maybe a seat, or she was standing somewhere So it does make sense. She positioned herself in a way that she can easily see her daughter come through the doors. Okay? So excuse my confusion there. In this context, we're not talking about parking anymore. Okay. So position. Scrutinizing, yep. Line 44. We didn't even read paragraph 6 yet. Interesting. Okay, but anyway, to do this question, we don't really need to read it. So we're at 44, and it's scrutinizing. Airport meetings can be so emotional, thought Jennifer, as passengers arrived, their eyes scrutinizing the crowd before lighting up with joy as they recognized their loved ones. Okay, so their eyes scrutinizing the crowd. So it means when people come through that door, the arrivals area door, they always look when they're traveling and someone's picking them up. They don't know where the person is, right? So they have to look through the crowd, and I believe in this case they're analyzing. So let's take a look at the options that we have for synonyms. Inquiring, nope. Examining, that's a good one. Investigating the crowd. Reading the crowd, no, definitely not reading the crowd. Not investigating the crowd, I don't think it's a good synonym. Inquiring either. Examining, so I did just say analyzing the crowd, which really aligns with scrutinizing. So I believe that examining is our ideal choice here. Okay, so there you have it for this question, number 8. Okay, let's move on to our last question, number 9. Okay, reread paragraphs 4 and 6, which contain sentences telling us about A, the hotels near the airport, and B, the meeting at the airport. Give the meaning of each sentence as it is used in the passage, the effect of each sentence as it is used in the passage. Okay, so now we're taking a look at line 25-26. Hotels like shiny white teeth rose against the skyline. Okay, let's go check that out. Here, by the way, you have two options. The question is telling you to read once again paragraph 4 and 6. That is your choice. Of course, if you're running out of time, I do advise that you just go ahead and read the lines. I think that it should be enough, in my opinion. But if you do have the time, it doesn't hurt you to read the full paragraph, both paragraphs actually. It does give you more context, right? So the more you read, the more context you have. But if you're really in a rush, I think that it's okay to just read the lines. So here for you, I'll just go ahead and I'll read paragraph 4 first again, and then we'll go and read paragraph 6 that we didn't even read, and then we'll take a look at the meaning and the effect. Okay, so sooner than Jennifer had expected, a cluster of huge hotels like shiny white teeth rose against the skyline, indicating that she was approaching the airport. She took the appropriate exit from the motorway and headed from the airport for the airport car park. It appeared to be full, and driving up and down each lane looking for a space shaved even more precious minutes off her schedule, until just as she was beginning to despair, her mission was accomplished. Okay, so we are specifically looking for this line here. Sooner than Jennifer had expected, a cluster of huge hotels like shiny white teeth rose against the skyline, indicating that she was approaching the airport. Okay, so when we read huge hotels like shiny white teeth rose against the skyline, so what would the meaning be? Okay, so the hotels are huge, right? So they're big, like shiny white teeth. Specifically, this is our simile here, shiny white teeth. So the hotels, if they're shiny, it probably means that there's light inside. So there's a lot of lights. The lights are turned on. They're bright, right? And rose against the skyline. Okay, rose against the skyline. They're tall. Okay, they're tall because they're within the skyline, so they're high hotels. And another thing about shiny white teeth, so yes, they're very bright, and if you smile in the mirror, unless, you know, I can't say this applies to everyone, we never know, but for most people, if you smile, if you didn't lose certain teeth for X reason, your teeth are mostly they're next to each other, right? So your teeth should be next to each other anyway. So when we look at this sentence here, the meaning is we have three things. They're hotels, they're big, they're tall. Sorry, they're big and tall, so that's one, right? Because they're rising against the skyline. Big and tall. They are shiny and bright, so they're bright because of the light. And they're close together, like teeth. Okay? So here the meaning. The hotels are big and tall. So they're big and tall. They're bright. Or you can say they're brightly lit. Okay? And they're close. They're close to one another. Okay? And what effect does that give? Okay, so what effect does that give? You're driving. So imagine you're just driving on the highway and then you randomly see really nice tall buildings that just grab your attention, right? Remember? Then sooner than she had expected. So she just sees a cluster of huge hotels, right? Cluster, by the way, cluster also lets us know that they're close by together, right? Cluster of teeth. But anyway, she didn't expect it, and then bam, she sees these big, tall hotels, and they look pretty, and they're within the skyline, right? So what effect does it give? Obviously it looks nice, so the effect would be that it's a beautiful, probably nice, right? It's nice to see. You're driving at night and you see these, and there's also, we can say, they stand out, right? So it's nice, they stand out. And why do they stand out? Because they're lit. So yeah, of course, when it's nighttime, the sky is dark. So when you see something that's beautifully lit, there's that contrast there. Okay? So the effect is a beautiful, beautiful view, and the contrast. Sorry, this is an R. Contrast between the hotel. The hotel's lights. And the night sky. Okay, so this is the effect, right? So now we're taking a look at paragraph 6. And suddenly at last there she was, Anna herself. Line 47, paragraph 6. Okay, let's read our paragraph 6 first. And we'll also just read 7. Jennifer picked a spot which gave her an excellent view of the automatic doors through which her daughter would emerge once she had cleared immigration and collected her luggage. At first, the doors hissed open only occasionally as an irregular trickle of people came through. Airport meetings can be so emotional, thought Jennifer, as passengers arrived, their eyes scrutinizing the crowd before lighting up with joy as they recognized their loved ones. Children fell over themselves as they rushed towards grandparents. Fathers and sons shook hands, friends embraced. The doors were opening more frequently now, releasing a steadier stream of people. And suddenly, at last, there she was, Anna herself. "Are you all right, Mom?" she asked anxiously, noticing her mother's flustered expression. "How was your journey?" "Oh, absolutely fine," laughed Jennifer. "And look what I got at the end of it." Oh, that's cute. Okay. So the part that we are interested in is 47. So yes, and suddenly, at last, there she was, Anna herself. Okay. So at last, there she was, Anna herself. What does it mean? It means that her daughter's finally here, right? Her daughter she finally sees her daughter, right? Her daughter came out of the baggage claim place or whatever. She came out of, baggage place, let's say. She came out into the arrivals hall. Yep. Yeah. So the meaning, Anna finally came out to the arrivals hall. Okay, and to be more specific, you can add over here in between the and arrivals to the international. Okay, and the effect. So the effect is that, and suddenly, at last, so finally, right? So it means finally, there she was, Anna herself. So Jennifer can finally relax, right? So she's happy. Jennifer's finally, happy. Jennifer is happy and no longer anxious. Anxious / tensed, right? Because she was so stressed out. So anxious, tensed, stressed, whatever you prefer. Okay, so there you have it. That is our last question. So it concludes the questions that were related to passage 2. And we are officially done with English language, paper 2, reading, May-June 2019, variant 2-2. Okay, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, taking the time to analyze this paper with me. More paper, of course, more papers are coming out very shortly. Thanks for your patience, but I will get to them. And of course, I do hope that you have a beautiful night or day, depending on where you are located in the world. Okay, so I will chat with you in the next video.